Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Tomlins Nyback. You're here at 365 Days Towards Racial Change. One second. We're here talking about black issues in America. Excuse me, I put in my earplugs. It shuts down on distractions. I learned that from this white neighbor. I'm sorry to focus on his race, but there's a tendency for white folks to feel that the world is theirs. Anyway, he was a distraction. And I learned early on in this project to wear earplugs to shut out any distractions. So we're here talking about black issues in America. If you think after 300 some odd episodes, well, we have it licked. But we're talking about 3, 4, 500 years, even more, because we've condensed it to American history, America's historicity, if you will. But people being marginalized, singled out for the color of their skin, that goes all the way back into perpetuity. Slavery was around long before America got a hold of it. America just perfected it, put it on steroids, and now it manages slavery and a lot of diabolical, a lot of mischievous ways, right? But we got books and constitutions, and we've got periods in history, and we've had proclamations. We got all kinds of window dressings, on racism in America, but but racism is still alive. It's still very much um, in the hearts of both sides to a degree. Definitely in the hearts and minds of some of our white brothers and sisters. Try to keep it civilized, but it's not easy, right? I've been a victim of it. Um, I can honestly say I've never jammed up a person because of their skin color. I might have other hang-ups, weight, in the past, age, you know. So when I see some of that stuff come back on me, yeah, it's all right. But racism for the color of my skin, that's a pretty harsh one. Um, so yeah, I've been beaten up, called the N word and all that. Just to say, like, this little 365 videos does not cure racism by any means. This is something I put together in a year and a half or so. I'm trying to wrap this up before I leave, and we got nowhere. It's gotten worse. We've seen evidence of it. This coronavirus, this May 15th, 2020. We got the coronavirus raging and all that. And thanks to the virus, yes, as deadly and as risky as it is, but thanks to the virus, it shows that America has still not dealt with this racism problem. And it never will. It never will. I'm kind of giving up on America on pure face value and integrity will be beyond racism. At least not in my lifetime. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to see it. Um, it's like confining a person to a wheelchair who has the ability to walk, right? America has walked and rested on. Its foundations are racism. And America cannot do anything but be that. And it's racism combined with economics, right? And we see that. Here's the virus again. The virus has showed us that America is still racist, has always been racist, has never tried to correct racism problems. And the double whammy here is economics, because we just can't let the machine rest. You know, in the Bible, and we don't do a big Bible thing. I draw from a lot of resources, but in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and still today, let me flesh this out a little bit. Um, we know about the seventh day rest, the Sabbath, and all that, and there's all kinds of confusion of all that. But in a nutshell, work for 7 days. Work for 6 days, rest for one. Pretty easy, right? But the Jews are actually one of the first kind of examples of that. This is a command from God to do this, and this is from when they came out of Egypt and all that. They were to get their manna for a certain amount of days, and on the last day they'd get double manna, so they didn't have to work, and they messed that all up and stuff. Same thing here, America, from its inception, slavery economics, founding fathers, right? Um, you know, uh, End of the 1500s into the 1600s. It's all been slavery, exploitation, economics, and slavery, exploitation, economics. Now the virus comes in and it shuts down the system. And man, people are pulling out their hair. Economics professors. You got people, scientists, running this system. It depends on exploited labor, capitalism, and economics. This profitability, and it's got to go on. If it shuts down, they don't know what to do. The money stops running in, and it's too bad. You know, I've developed, since this is before the virus. I came up with 5 little fundamental ideas that'd be good for a person's life. Number 1, do no harm to self. 2, do no harm to others. 3, participate in the infrastructure equally and fairly. Become that which you love most. And 5, distribute your goodwill. And that seems like there's some good stuff there. But America's all backwards, you know. Um, and it's because the system, it's like a battery, and potentialities. You have a positive pole and a negative pole, and you need a current to run a certain way. And America's like that. The flow of money has to keep flowing, or America suffers. And where we've seen that. Now, other countries with this virus, how come they seem to they put aside their economics, focus on the health of their citizens, and they seem to have better progress against the virus. We've been watching hearings on CNN and the CNN reporting, and our death rate, if you adjust for population, is exponentially higher than other countries. We just don't get it. We can just suspend everything, let everybody live their life, be who they are, heal, and the virus will abate. But I live in a city, and I'm kind of on the outskirts of the city. But our big box type um, stores, commerce, they stayed open the whole time. Some of our industrial businesses around where I lived in, they stayed open the whole time. When there was a time for the nation to heal and rest, for the ground to go fallow for a while, for the ground to rest, and we missed an opportunity. The virus isn't as inappropriate as you may think it is. It's really not. How you white folks doing today? Any white folks chiming in, listening in to this, to these videos, right? I mean, y'all should be feeling good, right? In one sense. But I can understand any trepidation from white folks because the economic field has gone level. And now, when it restarts, a lot of different people are going to have an opportunity to succeed and rise up. We're going to talk about that maybe today in the next couple episodes. Black folks, do you see the opportunity? You got opportunity here. Take it, grasp it, hang on to it with deadly precision. Hold on to it with, I don't know, with the grip of a snapping turtle. A snapping turtle. I grew up in around a lot of water, woods and stuff. And one of the biggest fears was to get bit by a snapping turtle because the snapping turtle clamp onto you. And even when it's dead, it stays hooked on its prey. You don't want to get a snapping turtle on you because it doesn't let go, even in death, right? That's how black folks need to hold on. I've been thinking about this blue collar thing, and I'm in a little bit of reprieve. Another semester is over. Looks like A's and B's. Got 2 B's. I'm looking at 2 A's. I'm waiting for one class to post. She should give me an A. I'm pretty sure that class will be an A, but that'll be fantastic. And I'm thinking about just writing. It brings in a couple dollars. Might have to work harder, but blue collar life is beyond me. If I was in my early 20s with what I know now, I would grow with a company, go to school, learn the trade, and on and on. That just never happened. I was hooked on crack cocaine and stuff like that. So, I understand my blackness, my presentation in the world is going to be a lot different from someone half my age and younger. I get that. But if you're, in your early 20s, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to some other people. Dr. Claude Anderson, he's the guy who informs all of this, what I'm doing here. A lot of people, guys like him, you want to listen to. Listen to our wisdom and succeed. Go further. Can you dribble a ball? Do you rap well? Do you entertain? Are you a great football player? If you're not kind of in, are you a good comedian? Huh? If not, then you got to come at success in a whole different way um, than entertaining the white masses. You know, your success, being competitive in the system is going to look a whole lot different. All right, back to Dr. Claude Anderson. I'll get back to my current events and stuff. I'm doing a block of videos today, kind of let my hair down. Anyway, we're informed on all the topics here, and in some way or form we're going to reference a man named Dr. Claude Anderson. He tells us his books and his lectures inform us a lot about what's going on. First book I read, I want you to get these books as well. A Black History Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask, Black Labor, White Wealth, Search for Power and Economic Justice, and Dr. Anderson's National Plan to Empower Black America, Powernomics. You can find Dr. Anderson here on YouTube and Powernomics.com. He's all over the internet. Easy guy to find. Dr. Claude Anderson. Behind me, you see the hashtag #US2 symbol. You find black women discussing, supporting each other there on that forum. I believe that's, you go to Facebook and find them. Check out Blog Enough, BLAGGENUF, kind of a Black Facebook experience. If you can't find your flavor here on the World Wide Web, do what I did, start your own. There's plenty of places to let you post your videos and stuff like that. Thank you, Google, and that awesome team. Since we've been talking, we've been touching on economics. I do want to, Julie, if you're a reader, because it's a pretty thick book, read this book, The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. Also, if you have an entrepreneurial mind, check out Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm sorry. Boyce Watkins. The Black Business School. blackbusinessschool.com. Also, there's a guy, Tyrone Gregory, great guy, self-employed tax guy. You can find him on LinkedIn. I couldn't find him much anywhere else. He's busy doing other things, I guess. Finally, fictional life account of slave life in America, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Please read that book, fictional account of slave life in America, informed by real events. Today, we're just taking a quick look. It's entitled Limping Along, Black Folks Limping Along. We're limping along now, but we got a lot of opportunity to succeed and make our own name for ourselves in America. The system was already not working for us. It kept us enslaved, working multiple jobs, not nurturing our families, right? All the things that are much more common in the power group. And the power group, is essentially white, but it involves everyone to some degree. But you think about those people with the means and resources to succeed and to get along in the system and everything, have the resources to take a break once in a while, be with their families. It's like that little commercial. Little girl is like, she's like 7 years old, and it's one of those. It's an education school, and she's going to school, and she's saying she has more time with her family, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know, little white girls building space shuttles and doing brain surgery were so oppressed with their time and stuff. The girl's 7 years old and talking about stressing over having more time with her family in relation to education. So that's pretty impressive. But that's what I mean, you get some elbow room, and then you can start thinking properly about what you want to do with your life, where you want to put your energy, your resources. That's life, you know. So much of life is like we're spat into life by our parents. More often than not, the parent is not equipped. Well, they don't know who you are in the first place, but they can't find out that information if they're breaking their necks, working a job, and all that, keeping a roof over their head and yours, especially if they have extra interest and all that. I saw that in my parents. It was very frustrating. I don't know. The older I get, the more I wonder why these two people got together. Because it was just a train wreck of when I look back on it. They had something, though. That's another tangent. But I think it's a good conversation to have as it bears on racism, though, I believe. There's definitely a connection. Oh, the virus has shown us that our economics is broken. Now, the globe is suffering, but you see how other countries, they have a different relationship with economics. Therefore, their implementation, their battle against the virus is so much more effective than America's, if you think about it. Um, America, like, I mean, I was complaining and moaning a year before this virus hit, but I didn't realize how right I was, how on top of America's shortcomings I was, and Dr. Anderson and others like him as well. Um, because our system is so geared toward exploitation, um, when these crises hit, we can't navigate because we're in our own way trying to care for the economic machine first. See, America. I hope people see what America is about. And I'm talking about American citizens. You know, that we serve the machine before ourselves. That's America. That's how America is running. Exploitation, profit, you know, any kind of altruism and stuff. I used to think altruism it was it was good to engage in it for treasures in heaven and stuff like that. I've got a whole new thing about altruism and putting myself out there, especially at my age. Some of that stuff needs to start trickulating back to me because you know I, my, I'm kind of past my halfway point, at least in life. I'm hoping it'd be nice to hit 100. I'd be surprised, but gotta be realistic. You know, I haven't bought my own house, haven't been married, don't have children. Damn. I mean, I know crack cocaine was a poor choice, but how long I got to pay for that shit? Damn. America, where America's just entangled in its own economic crap. And it's inflexible about it as well. It's a mindset. I listen to people, it's like, boy, you have to have a job and have that about blah blah job. It's like, dude, was that like, why is cloning illegal if you're just using people for this insensitive system? Am I not an individual with a mind and desires? you know. My idea is that I'm born on the earth, therefore I share in the resources. I'm not beholding to them or beholding to agencies that are centuries old, exploiting people of my color, right? It's all messed up. It's all messed up. So black people limping along. We got a opportunity to get out of it, but we're captured in it. I'm going to introduce other resources. Because I'm getting through with my philosophy degree, been introduced to a lot of resources. So I'm going to drop some names. Don't try to. Don't worry about memorizing them or anything. Just when I sometimes when I get complaints that I don't have enough reference. We know we come from Dr. Anderson, but maybe people don't believe when I'm just riffing off of my experience. People are like, well, is that true or not? So once in a while, I'm going to start maybe introducing some resources and some names. I'm going to introduce this guy, David Rocio. He's a professor of economics somewhere. Ruccio. And I looked up slavery, capitalism, Marxism, and as he's reflecting on Karl Marx, and that's a whole nother discussion. But look up Karl Marx to get some background. He says, slave owners, capitalists, they're agents who absorb surplus labor, and they do. It's like, and I wrote a paper on this, and the example I gave in the paper was, one guy as one owner, business owner with two employees. This illustration works with one, but I want to show two. I use two employees for an exponential growth. And those two employees create $2 worth of labor apiece. Um, that money goes to the owner, and the owner pays them $1 apiece. Now the owner has $2, and this goes on. So you can see how this um, this can grow exponentially, and how it can benefit a business owner. Now the business owner is going to say they have overhead and all this stuff, but they're going to gear the whole business so that the owner is going to get some profit eventually. And that's what I'm saying about here about um, black folks limping along. We need to start being sensitive to all of our labor going out the door. Maybe we can't make a big move right now to be independent, to run our own business, to call our own shots, do our own thing. But at least if we're aware that our resources, time, and money is just going out the door, but we need to start to think about how to secure and hold on to more of what we're putting into the machine. I mean, like if you're a blue collar worker, I think like when I worked for one of these big carriers, the business was really just right up the street, but because of the transportation, the buses, it would take me like an hour and a half each way. I didn't get paid for that. I just got paid for when I was in-house doing their labor. All that travel time and all this stuff was waste. What was flying out the door? It's like having all the windows and doors of your house open in the middle of the winter with your heater on. You know, just pushing money out the door. Black people can do better. We can just be aware. If we could start by being aware, we got a fighting chance at this thing. But don't blindly think that the system's working for you, that has got your well-being in mind. That's not what's happening. Um, we're a necessary component in the system. We got to break that. The system's addicted to us. You know, it's like we are the cocaine of the system. We're the heroin of the system. We're the alcohol of the system. The system is energized, gets stimulated by us. Well, we need to put them on cold turkey and start gathering our resources back to ourselves. If the system's not going to support us and help us succeed, then we need to cut them off. Us physically. Read the notes that are at the bottom of this description, and there's more about this. My time is up, but got an opportunity. Let's take hold of it and do something with it. I'm Tomlin's Nyback. 365 days towards racial change. That's day 331 out of the way. See you next time. Stay tuned. We're going to get that 365.